Choosing a cone or an alternative protective option for your pet after a surgery or after they have a wound can be very confusing. Nowadays, there are a lot of different options. We have e-collars, we have donut collars, we have surgical suits, and there can be a lot of questions about which is going to be the best for your pet. All of these different options serve their purpose, but some are more functional than others. I'm Hunter, a registered veterinary technician and one of the veterinary liaisons here at Alicia Pet Care Center, and I help pet parents choose protective options for their pets every day. Let's get into it. The reason that we use cones and their alternative friends is to prevent our pets from causing trauma to their surgical sites or their wounds. Even the best pet is going to do what pets do, which is lick their wounds. So we want to make sure that we can prevent that whenever possible. If a patient is able to get to their surgical site or wound, they can open up a surgical site, they can cause infection, or they can just delay healing. And ultimately that might cost you more money in the long run because we might need to revise a surgery, we might need to prescribe more medications and things like that. So if you take away one thing from this video, it's that your pet needs to wear their cone for the entire duration that is recommended by the doctor. For most surgeries, that's going to be 14 days, but for other things like wounds, that may vary. So just follow your doctor's orders on how long to keep that cone on. First, we are going to talk about our favorite option, which are Elizabethan collars, or e-collars for short. These are the typical lampshade shaped cones. The reason that we love these so much is because they just offer the best protection for almost everything. We carry two different types of e-collars here. The first is the traditional plastic one, and the second are what we call comfy cones. E-collars are typically the best option for most types of things, from surgeries to eye wounds to other types of wounds, because they extend past the patient's nose and prevent them from being able to turn and lick things, but they also prevent them from being able to rub their face on things and cause trauma to like eye ulcers or issues on the face. One of the times that an e-collar might not be the best option is for a surgery that's performed on the neck, because that's where the e-collar is going to lie, so sometimes it can cause trauma to that area. Plastic e-collars are typically clear or semi-see-through, which is a benefit. They're also lightweight and tend to be the most inexpensive option that we carry. There are a couple of minor cons to plastic cones. One is that sometimes if a pet bumps into something, it can be kind of loud and it can kind of make them a little bit nervous. Another con is that sometimes if you have a really big dog and they're kind of rambunctious and they run into your legs wearing one of these, it can kind of hurt. So for really big dogs, I often recommend a comfy cone for that reason. Comfy cones are made of a black fabric and they are not see-through. One of the biggest pros of these is, just like their name says, they tend to be a little bit more comfortable for our patients because of the material. A few very minor cons for these. Some patients really don't like that they can't see through them. It kind of takes away their peripheral vision, so that is something to consider. And then something else that can happen sometimes is they are a little bit more pliable than their plastic friends. So sometimes pets can kind of maneuver and get them to fold a little bit. It's not super easy, but that is something that has happened from time to time, so you'll want to keep an eye out for your pet doing that. One last little con for comfy cones is that sometimes with our really, really tiny patients like kittens or teeny tiny little puppies, they are a little bit heavier at that size than the plastic ones. With both types of e-collars, we have had clients call in and say that their pet is having a hard time eating or drinking with the cone on. So one suggestion that we have for that is propping their bowl up on something so the cone can go around it. But really what I tell people as a recommendation is that consistency is key. Most of the time, pets are going to adjust to their e-collars a lot more quickly if you just leave them on 24/7. Pets are smart. They're going to adapt and they're going to figure out how to live their lives with the cone on. The most important thing with e-collars is that they are sized appropriately. So when we're looking at sizing, we're not just worried about how it fits around the neck, but we're also looking at the length. The cone does need to go past the nose to be functional. If it's too short, they'll be able to get around it and there's really no point in wearing it. Another thing that you'll notice is when we send home an e-collar or a comfy cone, there's going to be a little piece of stretch gauze that's going to be tied in the little neck loops. This is to help secure it on your pet. Another thing that you can do as an additional method of securing it is take your pet's collar and string that also through these little loops to keep it even more secure so that they can't pull it off or push it off of their heads. We know it isn't always the easiest or most convenient thing for your pet to wear a cone, but we recommend them because they are tried and true and they work. So just know everything we recommend is in the best interest of your pet. Next up, we have surgery suits. So this is not a real surgery suit, but we don't carry them. This was the closest thing that we had. But basically, surgical suits are like a onesie that you can put on your pet. These are a fairly new thing in vet med, so we do still recommend using caution with these. Some pros to these are they're great for procedures that are not reachable by the mouth. So if your pet had a surgery that's on like the upper part of the body that still needs coverage from scratching with the back legs or something like that, they are a great option. The reason that they're not the best option for things like spays or neuters or things that are farther down on the body are because while they cover the incision, they don't prevent your pet from getting to it. So they can still chew on it or even lick it through the material. So we definitely recommend using caution with those. Another thing with surgery suits is that if we do have a surgery site that has a little bit of discharge, that surgery suit can become adhered to that and get kind of crusty and be kind of uncomfortable if you have to take that off. We also do like to let most of our surgeries breathe as they heal, so we don't typically want to cover them. So if you do opt for a surgical suit, just make sure that you're keeping a close eye on your pet, that they're not going for the incision, but also that you're taking it off pretty regularly to look at the incision and make sure that it's healing the way that we want it to. In a pinch, you can also often use a t-shirt for the kinds of surgeries that are higher up on the body rather than buying a separate surgical suit. Next up, let's talk about the kind of cutesy collars, the ones that are shaped like flowers or a lion's mane. They are so cute and we really do love it when we get to see a patient wearing them, but they are not the most practical option. They tend to be very floppy, so it's easy for pets to kind of bend them to their will and get around them, and they don't tend to be as long as we need them to be. So again, this is a type that is not ideal and we definitely recommend using with caution. All right, last and kind of least, we want to talk about donut collars. So these don't serve too much of a function in vet med, unfortunately. The reason that we don't love them is that most dogs will be able to get around them. They really only work in dogs that have a very short body or brachycephalic breeds, so smush faces. But most dogs will be able to get around these. They're also very easy for most patients to get off. They just kind of put their arms here and then they can kind of kick it off of their head. And because they're inflatable, if your dog's nail gets caught in it or something gets caught in it, it can deflate, become mushy, and then it's not serving any purpose at all. So we really recommend avoiding donut collars whenever possible. We hope this video has been helpful for you. If you would like more tutorials or how-to videos, please feel free to subscribe or leave us a comment. Also, if you're looking for a new veterinarian and are in the South Orange County area, we are located in Mission Viejo and would love to have you be part of the Alicia Pet Care family. If your pet's recently had surgery with us, make sure that you watch our surgery or dental aftercare videos starring me.